Hello, everybody, and welcome back to ET13 Productions. I am Elijah, and if you're wondering what you're about to watch, you are about to watch a 40-minute. It was a. It's not entirely serious. Full disclosure. I was asked to produce a little bonus intermission video for Monsters with Attitude, the show that I'm a rotating co-host of for Godzilla Day. And me and my fellow co-host Michael Hamilton, we decided to do a Shōwa ranking video. Now, this is his opinion, but there's some shenanigans and there's some fun with it. So, uh, yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I hope you guys enjoy watching me and Michael go back and forth for the next 35-40 minutes and talk about the Shōwa films. So, thank you guys for tuning in, and on with the show.
Well, happy Godzilla Day, Monsters with Attitude. I am Michael, of course, the Lizard King, as the little tag says so. And then, of course, I am joined by the other Monster with Attitude, the objectively right Elijah Thomas.
Yes, and I'm gonna prove you wrong during this intermission.
I think we're going to find more common ground than what you think we're going to find,
We'll
Elijah.
see.
So we're going to take a break from our regularly scheduled programming to do a tier list ranking of all the Showa films. And the reason why we're doing this is a few months ago, our friend and fellow Monster with Attitude, Eric, challenged us to do our Showa ranking. Well, I never got around to it. So this is going to be my Showa ranking. I don't even know why the hell Elijah is even here, but he wanted to jump in. So that's kind of what we're doing.
So do you just want to start at the beginning and
Yeah, we'll start at the beginning. So let's go through the tiers, what we have here so far. So we have, starting at the top, we have God tier, of course. We have God tier. Below that, we have damn good. Films that are above average. They're good. They're really good. Then we've got mid, not perfect films, enjoyable, but nothing that's that's gonna stand out. And then you got mothballs, which those are the films that are probably okay, but they're ones that I don't necessarily go to all that often. And then we have atomic trash, which is reserved for ones that I don't go to or don't find any enjoyment in at all. So, all right, let's get started. So let's start with the original. Let's start with 1954. So Elijah, if you had to guess, knowing me, where would you think that I would put 1950?
well, I think you're going to say that it's not good enough and you're going to put it in a strong mid tier.
I'm gonna put 1954 in damn good.
Okay.
I'm gonna put it in damn good because there's a lot of respect. I have a lot of respect for 1954 based on the criteria that I just set out a few minutes ago, like films that I just don't go to that often. 54 is not one of those films that I go to that often, but considering it is the original, considering it does have some artistic and some thematic weight to it, I'm going to put it in the damn good tier. It's not God tier for me, which is probably going to upset some people, but
why
that's
is it not
okay.
God tier?
Why is it not God tier?
Why is it not God tier?
Because
It should be God
it
tier.
doesn't tick all those boxes for me to become God tier.
How? How does it not tick those?
It has to first and foremost, it has to be entertaining for me to watch.
Oh, so it's not entertaining.
No. It has to have meaning. It has to be visually stunning. It has to be well acted, which 54 is all of those things, but the reason why it's in just damn good is just because I don't come to it that often. I still respect it. I just don't come to it that often.
Well, I don't
And I
come
don't
to it that
find
often either, but that still doesn't mean it's not
I
damn good.
don't think that it's all that entertaining or enjoyable to watch. And that's the point though. Like it's not supposed to be an enjoyable thing it's not supposed to be an enjoyable fun movie like King Kong versus Godzilla. It's not supposed to be a satire. It's supposed to be a very serious uh uh, uh, interpretation of what the Japanese people went through after Hiroshima and Nagasaki. But because I just don't go to it that often, it's damn good, but it's not god tier for me. This is my list. I can do whatever I want,
I can already tell this is going to be an awful list.
Elijah. Well,
Your opinion is already wrong.
my opinion is already wrong. So you have 30 seconds to tell me why my opinion is wrong.
It's 54. It's peak cinema. Everything about it, you literally said that everything about it is like it hits the mark for being a good movie. You're just a lazy bum who can't understand what art is.
Well, and you're just a child. So moving on. We're going to move on to Godzilla Raids Again. And I'm very nostalgic for this movie.
Oh God.
This was my very first Godzilla movie. This was the first film that we saw Godzilla battle another enemy. Um, it has its issues, specifically with some of the footage being sped up. But you know what? I think that there's a raw animalistic quality to Raids Again that is quite enjoyable. The acting is not that great. I don't identify all that much with the characters, to be fair. But I do have a soft spot for Godzilla Raids Again, which is why I want to put it. I want to put it in mothballs. I don't come to it that often, but I enjoy it whenever I do. What? You're acting like I killed your dog.
You did. It's atomic trash.
How is this atomic?
It's boring. It's boring. It's poorly made. It's clearly rushed. It's like literally one of the worst Godzilla movies ever.
How so? It's not one of the worst Godzilla movies.
It is. It's boring.
There's way worse Godzilla movies than this.
No, there's
Yes,
like
there is.
two, maybe
Yes,
two.
There's way worse Godzilla movies than this.
Like Godzilla versus Kong, but you're going to say that one's good somehow.
Uh-huh. And Godzilla's Revenge. Godzilla's Revenge is worse than this. I would argue to some extent Hedorah is even worse than this. Okay, maybe I was trolling with that last comment.
You that We're not
All right,
going to be friends.
moving on. We're gonna go to a fan favorite now. We're gonna go to King Kong versus Godzilla, the darling of 1962.
The
So,
darling?
the darling, yes. There's a lot of fans that grew up. There's a lot of fans that this film was their very first Godzilla movie. Our good friend Kaiju Kim, it was her very first Godzilla movie, and I know she loves this. She has a soft spot. A lot of fans have a soft spot for this movie. But I'm wondering if they have a soft spot for this movie or just maybe the suit. I don't know, but because the King Goji suit is, by all intents and
Ugly?
purposes, it's not ugly. It's probably
It's
damn.
ugly.
No, it's not.
It looks like a sock puppet.
No, it's not. It's a damn good suit, but we're not talking about suits right now, Elijah. We're talking about the film. So, it is a satire. It is meant to be a comedy, which makes it stand out among other Godzilla films. But for me personally, I'm going to put it in mid. It's mid tier. It's okay. It's not perfect. It's just mid tier for me. Mid tier. Now tell me why I'm wrong.
See, here's why you're wrong.
Oh boy.
The suits look awful. The movie is
Kong
boring.
suit looks awful, yes.
They both look like they are high. They both look like they just enjoyed some good stuff
No,
before they
this
got in
movie
front of the camera.
King Goji does not look nearly as high as 54. Not 54, 64.
Don't you dare. Don't you dare hate on 64.
I'm not going to hate on 64. I love 64.
But no, you're wrong because this movie, I mean, look at the box office results. This should be a way higher. This should be damn good or god tier.
No, but for me personally, it's mid.
Oh, you personally. Oh, aren't you special?
Because this is my list, Elijah.
Well, your list should be like everybody else's. objectively right, and it's not.
It's not. So I would say so far I'm not doing so well.
This is if I had to rate this tier right now, you're currently at a mid.
Okay. Okay. Well, let's move on. Let's move on to arguably one of the best Godzilla movies
Jesus.
in the franchise.
Oh
That
Jesus.
is Mothra versus Godzilla. I'm not going to beat around the bush with this. This automatically goes into God tier for me.
What? It's boring.
It is not
It is
boring.
boring.
It is
It
not.
is it
It
is
is.
one of
You
the
tell me
wor
why it's boring, Elijah.
it's slow.
How
It
is it? No, it's
ends
paced. No, Godzilla.
It's
Mothra versus Godzilla
not.
is paced very well.
No,
You're
it's
no.
not.
How is it not paced well? How is it boring?
It's so slow. They have no build up. It just things happen. There's no build up. There's no
How can you say
character.
that there's no buildup?
If you watch the movie, if you
I
actually
have
watch the
watched the movie several times,
oh,
Elijah.
sure. Yeah, like you totally have a poster behind you, sure. I bet you just read wiki pages.
No, I read Godzilla Wiki is what I read.
Oh, okay. No,
Or
it's
Sci-Fi Japan.
the movie literally ends and then restarts after Godzilla kills the adult Mothra. Like the whole last 20 minutes of the movie could be cut and it would be fine.
Now, I agree that
Uh-huh.
hang on. I agree that the movie takes a dip after he kills the adult. It does. But it's still a really enjoyable movie leading up to the well, except for the part where he gets spit on and gets defeated by two worms, which has always been really weird. But
It
regardless,
ruins it. The ending of the film is awful.
how is it awful?
It's boring. It
How is it?
literally
No, it's not.
restarts.
No, no. Thematically, it's not awful because the whole concept behind Mothra is death and rebirth, and we see that with Mothra versus Godzilla. The ending is not awful. It's death and rebirth and death and redemption is what um
Michael Dougherty said.
no, not Michael Dougherty. No, your other favorite director, Adam Wingard.
Oh,
All I need now is, you know what I really hope, Elijah, and I know this would really make you excited, is if Adam Wingard he's directing the next movie, but if he had TJ Storm play Godzilla again. Now, moving on to Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster, which this one I believe has a pretty special place in your heart. Yes?
it was my first Toho Godzilla movie I saw in theaters
So
from the
you're
Showa
pretty
era.
warm towards it, right?
I would
And
say that I quite like this film.
and this we do see the debut of probably this is the Joker to Godzilla's Batman in Ghidorah,
Yes.
basically. Yeah, this is
Yes.
we see the debut of Ghidorah. And the movie is you would probably argue that the movie's paced a little bit better. It's a lot
It
more
is.
it's interesting. I like the prophetess storyline. I like the battle between the monsters. I like Ghidorah. I like the mystery surrounding the meteorite. I like I even like I know people kind of complain about this particular Godzilla suit because they altered the head of Musagoji.
It's better.
It's okay. It's a little goofier. I would say that the suit for 50 for not 54 for 64B is a little goofier than 64A. I'm very warm towards Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster. This was one of those that came on during Monster Vision way back in 1994.
Back in your day.
Back in my day. But you know what? All things considered, it's damn good.
Damn good.
It's damn good.
Damn good.
It's damn good.
You put it below Mothra versus Godzilla?
Yes.
What is wrong with you?
It's my opinion. I'll stick to it.
Your opinion is awful.
Okay, well, your opinion. Oh, so I'm going to make you very, very happy here and say that the next movie, which is Invasion of Astro Monster, or I like to just call it Monster Zero because I think that's a cooler title, um, goes in God tier.
Okay, hold on, hold on, hold on. No, no. We
Why?
back it up, back it up.
Why?
There is not a reality where you can think that Ghidorah the three-headed monster is worse than Mothra versus and Monster Zero. There is no way because both of those films are inferior in basically every regard to Ghidorah the three-headed monster. Astro
But
Monster is literally just Ghidorah, but less kaiju in different places.
yeah, but that's what makes the film good. It has a really good human story. It's a really you
Ghidorah
don't
has a better human story.
It has a good human story, but I enjoy the human story in Astro Monster more, Elijah, with the Exilians. It's a sci-fi drama. It's a romance. It's really the perfect movie for anyone who likes a good balance between kaiju and human action.
How can you say that when Godzilla's only in the movie for like 5 minutes?
You don't necessarily need Godzilla in there to feel his presence though. Godzilla's used as a tool in this movie.
But he's basically irrelevant
I wouldn't
until
say he's
he
irrelevant. No, I wouldn't say he's irrelevant. How would you think he's irrelevant? Like
until he's mentioned at
the whole point is the Exilians want to find Godzilla to defeat Ghidorah, and then they turn right around and use Godzilla as a weapon against the Earth. He's not irrelevant.
no, because until the Exilians bring him up, Godzilla's not even mentioned. And then after he fights Ghidorah, he disappears for a little bit, and then he shows up to be the bad guy, but they don't even linger on him. They're more worried about showing Ghidorah than Godzilla. Godzilla's only relevant for
Well,
the
that's
fight
I
on Planet
agree.
X
I
and the
agree.
final fight.
Ghidorah is the centerpiece. Is probably the centerpiece monster for this film.
And he was
Doesn't
way
mean that Godzilla's not irrelevant. That doesn't mean that Godzilla's irrelevant.
he's pretty irrelevant to the plot.
Anyway, moving on. The next movie, because we don't have time to argue this.
We got a
That's
little time.
Godzilla versus Ebra or Ebra Horror of the Deep. Sorry, I messed that up. Sorry, fake fan, take my card away.
It's actually Godzilla versus the Sea Monster.
Godzilla versus the Sea Monster. One of the best soundtracks of the franchise. Um,
This is Sato's weakest.
it's not Sato's weakest. It's his
Out
most
of his
it's his most consistent. I think it's his most thematically consistent.
I mean it's consistent with the location, but like this is I'd say this is Sato's like weakest score.
Mm. Well, for me, it goes in mid tier. What?
It's boring.
Where would you put it? Would you put it in mothballs?
I'd put it in mothballs.
No, it's going in mid tier. I enjoy that.
It's so boring.
I enjoy the hell out of Sea Monster.
Why do you like boring movies?
I don't like boring movies. I have good taste in movies, Elijah. You're the one that
No.
likes boring ass movies.
I bet you sat through the entirety of The Irishman and loved every bit of it.
I did actually. I watched all of
See,
it.
I told you, I knew it. You are a lame person.
And I like Goodfellas. I liked all those kinds of movies. But I did watch The Irishman all the way through
In one sitting.
in one setting.
Of course you did.
I did. And I watched the Snyder cut of Justice League in
I
one
bet
setting.
you're a Snyder fan too.
I'm not a Snyder fan, but I did
Oh,
watch it in one setting.
well, at least you got one redeeming factor so far.
Anyway, moving on. Son of Godzilla. That one goes in mid tier.
It's a
I don't.
mid tier.
This is mid tier. I don't have a whole lot to say about Son of Godzilla. It's just it's good. It's not great. It's one that it's one that I go back to every now and then. If it's on Pluto or something, I'll leave it on and watch it or have it on in the background. It's mid tier.
But it has some of the coolest filming on the islands ever.
It's true. The cinematography in that is gorgeous. But it's mid tier for me in terms of enjoyment. Why am I wrong?
It's Son of Godzilla is one of the most interesting Godzilla films in terms of his own development. Like, look at the character. He goes through like a whole parental thing. Like, you want to sit here and talk about you like unique stuff and stuff that makes it, special and exciting, but that's some of the most exciting stuff Godzilla had done since 1964. But then again, you put 64 below, 65 and the other 64 films. So maybe I mean, it tracks. Your opinion is wrong.
All right, fine. So we're gonna move on to another film that is a fan favorite. This is I believe Adrian's favorite Showa movie film, if I'm not mistaken, and that's Destroy All Monsters. Which for the longest time, Elijah, we knew that this growing up, I knew this film existed, but I never got to see it until many, many, many years later. Probably when I was in my 20s is when I got to finally see this movie. It's basically the Avengers Endgame, but with Toho and monsters. This was meant to be the grand crescendo, the finale for the Showa era. And you know what? If it was, I probably would have been happy with it. Which is why I'm going to put Destroy All Monsters in damn good.
What? It's boring.
Oh my god.
Why do you like boring movies?
Why is it boring? Tell me why tell me this whole segment should be tell me why I'm wrong, Elijah.
It's so boring. The human characters are not interesting. There's nothing to be invested with them. The kaiju are so like irrelevant for most of the plots until they
You keep
destroy.
throwing around irrelevant like it means something when literally the world is being taken over by monsters.
But like they're all in the background. None of them actually like the only set piece where we get to see Godzilla fight or destroy any buildings is
Is in
in the
New
Tokyo
York.
scene.
No, it's in New York.
He destroys one building in New York and then they cut away.
I don't know why you hate good movies.
I don't know why you like boring movies.
Why do you hate good movies, Elijah?
I don't hate good movies. I like good movies. You like boring movies.
All right, fine. All right, fine. Let's move on to Godzilla's Revenge.
You'll redeem yourself here. Okay.
Let's move on to Godzilla's Revenge. I'm going to redeem myself. Okay. So Godzilla's Revenge is an interesting entry in the Godzilla franchise as a whole.
Like where this is going.
What'd you say?
I don't like where this is going.
It's an interesting entry, and honestly, the longer I have sat with and watched and revisited Godzilla's Revenge, the more I have grown to appreciate it for its storytelling, for its cultural significance. I did not learn until many, many years later what the little hats and the yellow jackets and all that stuff meant. It's an interesting concept that Godzilla is a figment of a young boy's imagination, but in this world, we're led to believe that Godzilla doesn't even exist. So it's just a really interesting little movie, and it's got Honda's fingerprints all over it. So for that reason, it's going to go in God tier.
There you go. There you go. For once you have the right opinion. There you go.
I'm just joking. Put it in mothballs. I think it's boring as all hell.
What? Oh my god. I don't know. I might have to stop being your friend.
You may not be my friend after this. Let's go to Hedera. So I'm not gonna beat around the bush. Hedera's mid.
It's one of the most artistically inclined Godzilla movies.
So doesn't mean I enjoy it.
So you like boring movies. You don't appreciate art, and you continue to like harass and hate on the actual good stuff.
I'm not harassing on
You
anything.
harassed Ghidorah the three-headed monster.
How did I harass? How did I harass Ghidorah the three-headed monster? I said it was damn good, Elijah. What do you want?
It should be God tier.
How it should? No, it should not be God tier. It's a good movie, but it's not God tier good.
It's better than Astro Monster.
Oh please, it is not. Whatever. Anyway, moving on. Godzilla versus Gigan goes into atomic trash.
What? No, you got to be BSing me right now.
Am I?
You better be.
Am I?
Samson will kill you.
I mean, Godzilla versus Gigan is a damn boring movie.
How is it boring?
It's just boring.
How?
I don't find anything. I don't find it interesting at all. To be honest with you, I don't like the
What?
humor. The only redeeming quality of Godzilla versus Gigan is the new Gigan suit.
I mean, it was the first.
Well, the first, you know what I mean. And Corncob Guy, he was pretty funny.
What about Mamagon and Shukra and the
No,
Godzilla Tower?
no, no,
You don't like Mamagon?
no,
You're lame. You're
no,
boring. Michael, you're
no,
boring.
no.
You're
I'm not
mid.
bored. I'm not mid. No, absolutely not.
This ranking dropped to a mothballs.
Whatever. Okay, moving on. Let's just go. Let's just rip the band-aid off. Godzilla versus Megalon goes to God tier.
Yes, yes, yes. It does. It
Actually, it
is.
does not. It goes to mid. It goes to mid. What? Am I? You look like I've like killed your mom or something.
You shot me. You really.
Explain to me why Godzilla versus Megalon should be any higher than just a meh movie.
It was shot in 3 weeks. The fact that it's a full-fledged film with actual like cohesive plot storylines is in by itself a feat of like peak cinema.
Mhm.
So you are putting it should be damn good.
Well, that's interesting, but doesn't mean I enjoy it because it was shot in 3
Well,
weeks.
you should. You should
And
enjoy everything.
fine. You have convinced me, Elijah. You have
Thank
convinced me.
you. Thank
You
you.
have convinced me. So I'm going to move it. I'm going to move Godzilla versus Megalon
Okay.
to
Let's do it.
mothballs.
What? No! 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 No!
That is where it will remain for all eternity. Is
I
mothballs.
can't believe you are literally the worst human on the planet, Mike.
Oh, wow. Wow. Okay, all right, let's move on. All right, so we got Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla 1974, the debut of Godzilla's mechanized doppelganger. It's basically a Godzilla movie mixed with James Bond, and everyone knows me, who knows me, knows how much I love James Bond. So it's going in God tier.
What? It's literal garbage.
No, it's not garbage.
It's
How is it
literal
garbage?
garbage.
How is it garbage, Elijah? You can't tell me why it's garbage because you like the movie too, and that's bullshit. Nuh-uh. No, we're leaving it in God's tier.
No.
If you need
No.
formulate an argument why it's garbage, and you have to do it within the next 30 seconds, or we're moving on.
Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla is garbage because because the
Time's up. Anyway, moving on. Let's move on to or we're moving on to Terror of Mechagodzilla.
peak cinema. Peak cinema.
Peak
I know you're gonna love it.
arguably peak cinema. Arguably peak cinema. Like this is the crescendo of the Showa era. And I believe that the Showa era, even though it could not have ended on Destroy All Monsters, it couldn't have ended any other way than to end on Terror of Mechagodzilla. Terror of Mechagodzilla is the score, the characters, the tokusatsu, the special effects, all of it is just beautiful. That's why it's going to go in damn good.
What?
That's why it's going to go in damn good. It's a damn good movie.
It's better than Mechagodzilla.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not, Elijah.
Oh, it absolutely is. You are.
No, you're gonna have to
absolutely
tell
wrong.
me. You're gonna have to formulate a better argument than yes, it absolutely is.
Everything about it, from the Ifukube score to Honda's direction to the set design to the story to the characters. If you want to talk about a movie where Godzilla's foreboding and doesn't have to appear a lot in his film, Terror of Mechagodzilla is the best example. Your little Astro Monster example is invalid when it comes to Terror of Mechagodzilla. Terror of Mechagodzilla achieves Godzilla not appearing until over halfway through his film perfectly because of how well the script is. It is the Romeo and Juliet of the Godzilla era, and the fact that you place it in such plebish tiers such as damn good only complements how awful of tastes you have.
I don't believe so, and it's gonna stay in damn good. But I have been thinking, and I'm thinking about moving a few of these around.
Okay.
Okay, so
let's
think
right now you're sitting in mothballs, so
I'm
let's
thinking
see.
about moving a few of these around. So let's
Okay.
move. Let's move Raids Again to God tier. I'm joking. Don't move it to God tier. So the one that I'm struggling with here is I don't personally believe that Gigan deserves to be in Atomic Trash. I kind of did that one out of spite because I knew Samson would be watching this one. But I'm struggling as to where it actually belongs because I personally don't think that any Godzilla movie is technically Atomic Trash. There's some redeeming quality
Oh,
from
come on.
there's some Godzilla movies that are worse than others, but they're not trash. At least in the Showa era. Now, talk to me about Mothra versus Godzilla from 1992, or the
Godzilla vs.
entirety of
Kong.
the entirety of the Mothra trilogy, or Space Godzilla. Then we can probably talk about Atomic Trash. But I don't know. I'm thinking about moving Gigan just up one rung to Mothballs. How does that feel?
The fact that it's below Raids Again hurts. I can't stand you.
Does it really hurt you? Does that
hurts.
really hurt you?
I feel like my soul has been crushed.
Would it make you feel better if I moved Raids Again down to Atomic Trash?
It would.
Well, that's not going to happen. So, let's see here. What else? What's else? You know what? I think you've convinced me, Elijah. I think you've convinced me. I think Destroy All Monsters is damn good.
No, what? No, wait. It's
Oh,
there.
it isn't damn good. I was looking at the wrong poster. Whoops, sorry. Hedera is actually damn good.
Oh God. Oh, okay. Actually, yeah.
Okay. See,
Way to make it so now it's not a building. It's a weird shaky line for your tiers.
Right. And let's see. Let's move. Let's move. King Kong versus Godzilla's. It needs to stay in mid. Sea Monster mid. Son of Godzilla. Son of Godzilla can move to. Nah, Son of Godzilla can stay in mid. Terror of Mechagodzilla though. I do like Mechagodzilla regardless. I do. And Katsura. Nope, that stays in damn good. Man, I feel like I'm pissing. I feel like I'm pissing a lot of people off with like
Well,
not putting
you've hurt me.
54 in God tier.
You basically shot my dog, and
I,
then
I I feel like I've really hurt some people by doing that. I really do. I feel like that. I feel like I've hurt some people. So, you know, go ahead and move. Go ahead and move 54. Just out of respect. Out of respect to the film. Go ahead and move it to atomic trash. Yeah, there we go.
okay.
That's that you knew what I was going to say.
I'm following. I've decided to just give up, and we're just gonna go with your
Okay.
POS.
All
Of
right.
it
In all
being the thing.
seriousness, move 54 up to God tier. It is the one movie that started it all. So, out of respect to 54, we're going to move it to God tier.
Suck up.
All right, fine then. Move Ghidorah the three-headed monster down to atomic trash.
Oh, you are an awful person. You are
Just
an
for that
awful person.
just for that comment. Ah, this all feels good. What would you say, Elijah? This feels really good.
I can't help but think that I think I may have lost a few years of my life in this ranking of the Showa films. I don't think I've sat through a more harder experience in my life. And
Well, I'm going to take a screenshot of my tier list and I want you to quickly show us or share with us what your tier list is, Elijah. How would you redeem this tier list?
well, if I had to be perfectly honest here, we're gonna start at 54, we're gonna move it to damn good. Going down to rain scale, we're gonna move that to atomic trash. And then up to King Kong versus Godzilla, it's gonna stay in mid, pretty mid. If we're going Mothra versus Godzilla, goes down to mothballs. Pretty good. Ghidorah the Monster goes up to God tier, Astro Monster drops to damn good. Moving on to Ebra. Ebra stays in a solid mid. I would put it in mid, same with Son of Godzilla. When you get to Shōwa Monsters, I would probably put it in mothballs, truth be told. It's pretty, it's actually, now that I think about it, I put it in mid, it's pretty mid film. Moving on to Hedorah, I would move. And then once
Whoa. You gave me a lot of shit for Hedorah.
Well, because it's you.
Okay.
For Gigan, I'm probably gonna move it to a mid. For Megalon, I'd also put it in a mid. I completely skipped over Godzilla Raids again. It's pretty mid. And then once you get to Mechagodzilla's, I put it in pretty damn good. And then Terror of Mechagodzilla's Peak Cinema. I'm gonna move something real quick. I'm gonna realign my opinion. Yeah, I think this is about right. Most of the Godzilla movies are pretty mid.
Okay. Well,
But there's some really damn good ones. There's some peak cinema, and then there's like a handful of trash ones.
yeah, I agree. And like I said, I enjoy I enjoy all Godzilla movies for different reasons. There are some that I revisit more often than others. So yeah, just one man's opinion. No reason to get pissed off about it.
Oh, I'm livid.
You sound livid.
I've already blocked you on all social medias, and I'm never gonna talk to you.
You're going on a cancellation campaign now.
I am. Hashtag cancel the Lizard King.
Okay. All right. Now that
I
I
want
know,
everybody in the chat. Hashtag cancel the Lizard King.
well, now that I know what I'm up against, I guess we need to hand the stream back over to the guys, don't we?
Yes, it's been about that time. About that time for them to take back over and steer the ship back in its proper course, and in a course where it's not chaos
and gatekeepery bullshit.
Yeah.
So Eric, you got to tell me, How'd you like my tier list, buddy? So I guess before we wrap this up, I gotta challenge what, 5 people? Is that right? Okay. All right. So I'm gonna challenge Daniel DeManna of the Godzilla Novelization Project, Nathan Marchand, Jay Key of Toku Toy Town, Kaiju Kim, and you know what? I don't think he's done one yet. And if he has, I haven't seen it. Joe of Monsters with Attitude. So all 5 of you lovely people, you have to make your very own Showa Godzilla tier list. We'll share the link to this particular tier list. You can go out and record your own video if you'd like, and post it in the Monsters with Attitude collectors group just for shits and giggles. So I guess let's hand this back over to the guys, shall we?
And with that, that's the end of the intermission video. A huge thanks to Adrian and Eric of Monsters with Attitude to allow me to re-upload this here so that everybody can watch the part that I did for their stream. And before I head out of here, I got to do my shameless actually no, I can't say that. That's copywritten. The most noblest of YouTuber traditions, as I guess I would say here. Hello, I'm Elijah, and I have a kaiju and tokusatsu problem. Joking aside, I'm Elijah Thomas, co-host of the podcast Kaiju Conversation, with my co-host and good friend Rex. We cover the wide world of tokusatsu, from kaiju and giant monsters to henshin heroes and J-horror. You can find us on any podcast platform you use, and follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at kaiju_converse on all of those social medias. I am also part of the rotating hosts of Monsters with Attitude. You can check us out on YouTube, where we do monthly live streams talking about kaiju entertainment. You can also head over to Facebook and join our Facebook group. It's a great place full of great people. I am also a writer. I've written for GodzillaMovies.com and Kaiju Ramen Magazine. Currently, I write for Kaiju United, and my most recent article as of this recording is a deep dive into Takashi Yamazaki and what to expect for Godzilla Minus One. If you are watching this, however, after Godzilla Minus One, you will also see my review for it. And, you can go back and read what I wrote about Yamazaki and see how right I was, and see all the other information I have in regards to the director and his look on what could potentially be Godzilla Minus One. My writing has also been featured in a book called Giant Bug Cinema, a Monster Kid's Guide, from Bear Manor Media, where I wrote a review for Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster. And, if you're watching, definitely hit the subscribe button and ring the bell so you can be notified anytime I upload a video. I also have a Twitter at ET13_productions and an Instagram at ET13productions, where you can see my figure photography, me posting opinions, and just a bunch of other stuff, keeping updated on the podcast and all that good jazz. I also appeared in a kaiju movie. It's a little-known film called Zillafoot from 2021. I made a brief cameo in the film as Skywatcher number 2, also known as Fox. It's got a 3.7 out of 10 on IMDb. It's basically peak cinema. So if that's something that interests you, you can go to srscinema.com and buy the Blu-ray, or you can purchase the DVD on any major retailer platform online. Or if you don't want to buy the physical, it's available for free with ads on Tubi or with a subscription on Amazon Prime. So with that, I'm done here. So I got one last thing to say, guys, and that is, please remember, don't let King Kong make a monkey out of you, G fans. See ya.